You're out in the garden on a sweltering afternoon and your plants are drooping. So you grab the hose, soak everything, and think you've saved the day. Sound familiar? Here's the brutal truth. That daily watering habit might be killing your garden faster than any drought ever could. I get it. Summer heat is relentless. You see wilting leaves and panic. The instinct is to water more. It feels like you're doing something right. But the reality is, most of us are watering wrong. We're creating conditions that actually stress plants more, not less, and then we blame the heat, when really, it was our routine that broke them. Think about it. You're probably watering in the afternoon when the garden looks worst, or maybe in the evening. You might be doing quick daily sprinkles to keep the surface wet. You think you're helping, but you're actually training your plants to have shallow roots that can't survive heat. You're creating humid conditions that invite disease. You're watching moisture evaporate the second it hits the soil. Meanwhile, the plants get more stressed, not less. The problem isn't that you don't care, it's that the advice we all follow is backwards. We've been told more water equals healthier plants, especially in summer, and it feels true when you see a wilted plant perk up after a drink. But that's a temporary fix that masks a bigger problem. You're fighting the heat with a strategy that makes plants weaker, not stronger. Here's the good news. This is completely fixable, and it doesn't mean spending all summer glued to the garden. Today, I'm sharing 7 counterintuitive heat tricks that actually work. We're talking timing shifts that take 5 minutes to change, watering depth strategies that cut your work in half, and smart plant picks that basically thrive while others wilt. These aren't fancy gardener secrets. They're practical moves that let your garden handle extreme summer without turning you into a water bot. Before we dive into these tricks, I want to mention something that's helped me cut watering stress in half. There's a guide called My Autopilot Garden that breaks down exactly which plants handle summer heat on their own, the ones that basically thrive while others wilt. The heat-hardy plant lists alone save you from guessing wrong in August. You can find the link in the description below. Now let's get into the actual tricks that make heat season manageable.
All right, let's start with trick number 1. And it sounds almost too simple, but it changes everything. The first mistake most people make is watering during the hottest part of the day. You look outside, see everything drooping, and panic, so you grab the hose in the afternoon and soak everything. But that's exactly when you shouldn't. Early morning, I'm talking 6 or 7 a.m. before the sun gets aggressive, is when roots actually absorb water most efficiently. The soil is cool, evaporation is minimal, and plants get hydration stored up for that brutal afternoon ahead. Watering late afternoon or evening is almost as bad because wet foliage plus heat plus high humidity at night creates a perfect recipe for fungal disease on top of the heat stress you're already fighting. So shift your watering window early. It sounds simple, but this alone can cut wilting by 30 or 40%. I know because I tried fighting the heat with afternoon watering for years, and the difference when I switched to early morning was honestly shocking. Trick number 2 is what I call the watering amount paradox, and this one catches almost everyone. Most people water daily, but shallow, a quick sprinkle that keeps just the top inch moist. That actually trains roots to stay shallow because there's no reason for them to dig deeper when water's sitting right there. Shallow roots can't access the cooler, stable moisture deeper down, so plants wilt the second that surface dries out. Instead, water less frequently but go deep. One thorough soak that penetrates 8 to 10 inches is genuinely better than 7 daily sprinkles. Deep roots reach into moisture reserves that the heat can't touch. In extreme heat, start with watering every 2 or 3 days, not daily, and when you do water, go heavy. You're literally retraining your garden to be tougher. Trick number 3 is mulch, and mulch is your heat shield. A 2 to 3 inch layer of organic mulch around your plants insulates the soil, keeps it cooler, and cuts evaporation dramatically. But here's the catch that a lot of people miss. You need to prep your soil before summer peaks. If your soil is depleted and poor, no amount of mulch is going to save you. Work in compost or aged manure in spring so soil holds water longer. Poor soil drains too fast in heat and leaves plants high and dry. Rich soil with organic matter in it acts like a sponge. It releases moisture slowly, which is exactly what you want when temperatures spike. So if you're watching this in spring or early summer, start amending your soil now. Don't wait until July when you're in panic mode. Here's something many gardeners overlook, and it's worth pausing on. You can do everything right with watering and timing, but if you're growing plants that are just not built for heat, you're fighting a losing battle. That's where the right species choice from the start matters so much. It's the difference between babysitting plants all summer and having a garden that basically runs itself. If you want the detailed breakdown of which plants actually thrive in heat without fussing, there's My Autopilot Garden that lists out the heat-hardy varieties that work in different conditions. You'll find the link in the description. The plant selection part alone saves you from guessing wrong and buying something in August that dies by September. Now, let's talk about how to pick wisely. Trick number 4 is plant selection itself. Some plants are heat-loving and drought-tolerant from the ground up. Sedums, lavender, Russian sage, blanket flower, coreopsis, these are not wimpy plants. They thrive in heat that would destroy a shade lover. Before you buy anything else for summer, look at what's already struggling in your garden and ask yourself honestly, is this the right plant for my actual climate? If you're in a hot, dry zone and you're trying to grow moisture-hungry plants that belong in cooler regions, you're doomed from the start.
Plant ones for your actual conditions, not against them. Trick number 5 is about containers, and it's a surprisingly overlooked weapon. Dark pots absorb heat and bake roots from the outside in. Light-colored or double-walled containers stay cooler. And elevation matters more than people think. Pots sitting on the ground are hotter than pots on stands or tables with airflow underneath. If you're using containers for heat-sensitive plants, treat them strategically. Trick number 6 is microclimate. Grouping plants together creates a humid microclimate that reduces stress. Isolated plants get baked on all sides. Planting densely, not root-bound but closer than you might normally space them, means plants shade each other during the worst heat of the day. It's a bit counterintuitive, but it works. Which brings us to trick number 7, shade cloth or strategic shading during extreme peaks. If it hits 100 degrees and you know a plant doesn't handle it, a shade cloth for the hottest 2 or 3 hours is not cheating. It's smart gardening. You're protecting something you care about. Here's your action plan for this week. If it's spring or early summer, start amending your soil with compost. If heat is already hitting hard, shift your watering to early morning, go deep rather than daily, add mulch where you can, and audit your plant lineup honestly. Swap out the heat-killing plants if possible, and consider grouped planting or shade solutions for your most heat-vulnerable spots. Which of these tricks hits home for you? Are you a daily waterer who's been fighting the battle all summer? Or are you already leaning into deep watering? Drop a comment and let me know what heat challenges are hitting your garden hardest. I read them, and it genuinely helps me know what to cover next. If this helped, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you catch the next one. Ring the bell so you don't miss updates on seasonal gardening that actually works. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.